Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So this time we're going to be talking about flying in Warlords of Draenor, which is of course everyone's favourite slightly touchy topic that everyone likes to get up in arms about. So grab your pitchforks. This is actually not about to get messy at all. This is really a pretty feckin' mundane blue post. But nonetheless, Bashiok did pop up to talk a little bit about the issue. So first of all, he said that they think 6.1 seems like a reasonable point to allow flying in Draenor again. I think that's fair enough, and it does, I suppose, accomplish all of their goals. They want people to enjoy the original 6.0 content, without having flight actually impeding in your minute-to-minute combat gameplay. So, for an example, if they make a really, interesting fort or enemy town for you to traverse in 6.0, they don't want you to just fly over it, because when you can, of course, fly over that content, then you just completely render its geometry pointless. Okay, so there you go, 6.1 will basically accomplish their goal, or their goal even. Now, in terms of how we get the garrison, well, he said that maybe it's gold, maybe it's some kind of epic quest, or perhaps it's something a little bit more straightforward. I suppose that by straightforward he just means it being unlocked automatically. So this is an interesting enough idea. I think gold would certainly work. It's been the traditional way in which we unlocked flying, and it's never priced at a very cost prohibitive, sort of quantity. Okay, back in the Burning Crusade, maybe 5,000 gold was a lot to some people, but nowadays it's like, what, 1,000 gold to fly somewhere? It's really not that much, it's fine to be honest. So that's okay. Now, I think an epic quest would be the ideal way of doing it, because of course, it would mean that yes, some people, people who enjoy flying will get flying, but also, what it would mean is that we get a new bit of content. However, the problem with doing an epic quest surrounding flying is, just how the hell do you make a quest that makes sense? I mean, if a flight point mount can fly around the place, then there's no lore reason why your own mount can't fly around the place. And of course, the reason why your own mount can't fly around is because of gameplay reasons, and I will talk about that later on in the video, just to fill people in with the kind of thinking that's going on with all that. But anyway, yeah, an epic quest would be great if they can find some sort of way to make it work. Perhaps it could involve, I don't know, teleporting our mounts into Draenor, or maybe adding a new building to our garrison that houses our flying mounts, or something like that. But I think if they can't do a quest, well, at the end of the day, I will accept more quests, especially if they're epic. And then he said something sort of straightforward, so just you getting it for free? Nah, I don't think that's very interesting. It should feel like a thing that's you get rewarded for, it should feel like a reward. If you're getting a substantial increase in power, or increase in perceived power, whatever, it shouldn't just feel like something that popped up out of nowhere and now you're just arbitrarily better, or something like that. Okay, so next he said that they are staying open to the idea of changing this 6.1 plan post-release if they feel like it's just working out well and they want to keep on rolling with it. I think that's actually nice that we're seeing a bit more of a kind of, we'll take it as it goes sort of stance from Blizzard. This is a pretty touchy topic, the player base is, I think, decently split down the middle when it comes to this. So, really just stopping and thinking, right, we'll see how 6.0 goes. That's definitely the right way to deal with this. And then finally he said that he is apparently digging how there is a pretty reasonable mix of beta experiences so far, and that they are looking forward to feedback once we get to the max level content. Okay, so time to talk about this max level content. We haven't really been shown any of it in a sort of bespoke manner. However, I have seen two different level 100 zones, one being in Frostfire Ridge, and the other one being in Shadowmoon Valley. So the Frostfire Ridge one was basically just this place to the north, and was full of, no, they weren't Stone Maul ogres, Stone Maul's from Azeroth, but it was some kind of ogre. Now, they were just chilling out there, they were level 100, so they were killing my character pretty quickly. I have no idea what would actually be done in that area, but they were level 100. Then there was also a place in Shadowmoon Valley which contained a bunch of level 100 NPCs who were associated with a faction called the Sargerii. Obviously, they're sort of in cahoots with Sargeras, meaning that some form of level 100 threat is going to involve the Burning Legion. So I would imagine that basically every zone in Warlords of Draenor is going to have at least one of these little kind of level 100 PvE zones. I think that's cool. Honestly, the zones were never really that ginormous, so I'd have to imagine there'll be something else or just something more. But still, it was, I think, definitely a cool way of spreading out that level 100 content around the world. And then, of course, while I was exploring in those zones, I did notice there was quite a lot of, rare mobs and little collectibles and things like that. So overall, it did come off very well. Now then, since we've talked about the blue post that Bashiok made, it's time to talk about the actual issue of flying. First of all, I just want to make it very clear that as someone who's interested in game design, and I disagree fundamentally with the idea of freeform flight in an RPG. Most of an RPG's content is designed to be tackled from the ground, so when you're in the air, you just kind of skip over the content. However, I absolutely understand the idea of people just saying, listen, the content that I want to do right now is at the other side of this feckin' island, and I don't want to have to swim over a sea, do 3 feckin' backflips through a spruce tree, and then jump in my rocket and fly across a ravine. I get that, and you know what? In the context of WoW, I absolutely share your opinion. That's why flight points are extremely important. I'm of the opinion that you don't actually need freeform flight if flight points are robust enough. And the good news, guys, is that the flight points so far in Draenor are extremely robust. Running around Shadowmoon Valley, I just noticed that wherever I wanted to go, there was a flight point within reasonable distance from it. Man, I just cannot talk today. Anyway, so there's always a well enough placed flight point. Essentially every single quest hub has got a flight point, and I think that one of the major things that people sort of experience at the minute is just this kind of like pre-programmed notion that one does not use flight points. Traditionally in WoW, the flight points have been a little bit ridiculous, they've been doing lots of meandering and silly things like that. The ones in Warlords are, for the most part, excellent. They are a complete step up, and Blizzard said that they are very much committed to making them as straight, as the crow flies as they possibly can. Now that's very good. It basically mitigates the entire need for the main flying. You see, back in vanilla, one of the reasons why people wanted to be able to fly themselves is because the flight points were often just so bad. If that's not the case, then we shouldn't really have that need for flying. And the reason why flying is problematic for a game like this is because all of your content is designed to be tackled from the ground, and when Blizzard are designing a zone or designing a world, one very important part of the sort of game space that you're inside is the actual geometry of the level. Whether you are running up a hill, whether you are on a cliff, or perhaps trying to tackle a fortress or something like that, it's very important, that actual geometry. So if you're on a flying mount, what happens is you basically just fly straight up, you fly right above your next objective, you drop straight down. And that essentially, removes any of the interesting and possibly fun design that Blizzard could have done. Furthermore, in Draenor, they're going to be having more kind of like little treasures and discoverable things, and some of those may involve a bit of a jumping puzzle. Some of them basically, may involve getting past a few different mobs, and in order to balance all that right, flying just kind of has to take a little bit of a back seat. If you think about it, maybe there's a chest, and that chest is a reward for making your way through a small ogre camp. Well, if you can just fly right on top of the chest, dismount quickly, pick up the chest, maybe fight one ogre, then fly away again, then you basically break the intended reward loop for that content. And it's just a sort of wide-ranging problem that really is just, problematic. And that's why traditionally Blizzard don't really allow us to fly in the main kind of like max level zone. So the Isle of Thunder, the Timeless Isle, various places like that. Now, the actual world of Draenor is basically designed as if it were a giant Isle of Thunder, Well, okay, a giant Isle of Thunder that is full of rare mobs and even more treasures. So basically a giant Timeless Isle that's far more structured, because of course that was the main point, or problem that people had with the Timeless Isle, was just the lack of raw content and structure. So that's what Draenor is going to be like, and as you can probably imagine, the flying issue just is a little bit problematic when they're trying to treat the zone like that. So basically the world of Draenor itself is a giant big max level zone. And that's why, when patch 6.1 comes, it's no longer going to be the most recent bit of content. In 6.0, the new island, that's out in the sea called Farallon will open, and there'll be no flying in Farallon, but they will then probably open up flying in Draenor. Now that will be fine in that our max level gameplay, max kind of item tier gameplay, isn't really going to be affected by all the negative problems that flying brings. However, one problem is, just for alts and various things like that, it does kind of, jumble up the regular level 100 stuff a little bit, and that certainly is unfortunate. Then I suppose other problems with the flying are that, well, you don't meet other players. Everyone is 10 miles up in the sky, where they're not really able to see anyone else. So it does take away an element of the MMO perspective from a game. And also there's a lot of really cool kind of lore-ish, fantasy-ish style things, like maybe everyone just heading out of their city on their horse to go do something. You know, having this big kind of epic legion of 80 players heading off to tackle a world boss or something. There's a lot of really cool, memorable moments like that that just don't really happen. For an example, say the mammoth trains that we used to have going on in Dalaran. Trust me, guys, those things were crazy. You'd have like 200-300 mammoths all in a train, and somehow it was able to be like, coordinated. It was awesome. So yeah, stuff like that just isn't really encouraged by allowing flying. However, I can see why they are thinking of bringing it back. Though ultimately, I can say from my beta experience that if they were to never bring it back with the context of Draenor, and assuming that flight points continue to be as solid as they are so far, I wouldn't particularly mind. I've never really needed to, I've never really felt the need to hop on my mount and fly somewhere. It's just been second nature. Okay, it maybe took a day for me to get used to the idea of actually, actively using my Hearthstone and flight points, but once I did, things actually started to feel kind of good. You have this really interesting form of gameplay where you'd actually feel like a little bit of a clever bastard if you had, done all your quests, then headed to a flight point, and you just kind of, lined all that up so that it just sort of fit in nicely with your traveling schedule, so I could just go from like hub to hub and hand in one bunch of quests, get a new bunch of quests, and just keep on moving on. And that just stuff, it felt great, it did feel really good. However, what's going to happen is that over time, people get more used to actually using flight points fully, and once that happens, then traversing the world will just feel very easy and natural to them. And I think that maybe halfway through the initial tier of Warlords, the response will be either, of course, you still have people that hate it, you'll still have the people who love it, but I think a lot of the people who are previously negative will be sitting a little bit more in the middle. At least that's what I think anyway. But that's basically it for the video. I just thought it was worth talking about this post, worth giving you a little bit of an update of how Warlords is actually playing out for me with no flying, and all that good stuff. So, if you are in the Warlords of Draenor beta, then first of all, welcome to the club. I hope you're having fun. And yeah, let me know what you think from your own in-game experience. And if you're not in the Warlords of Draenor beta, then, well, just try to think more of the higher concept, and do bear in mind that the traveling from X to Y issue is largely solved. So yeah, there's all that. Now, that's it for the video. I've got to go and, well, sleep because it's 4 AM again. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.